So the Iranians came with a proposal. Trump looked at it and said, no, no, no. And crypto dropped, oil pumped. The question is going to be, where can the stock market go this week after an amazing end to the week, especially with the memory stocks like Micron and SanDisk and Intel and AMD? Where does the market go from there? Plus, what happens with the Clariac this week, and of course, CPI and PPI. It's a full week, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hopefully, you're buckled up and you're ready for the action. Now, all I asked from you was that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button. Yesterday, we got our goal of 1,000. Only when I push you guys, we can get it. I have to give you guilt, right? Let's get into it. Please read the disclaimer. So currently the crypto market, like I said, pulled back a little bit. This came off of the fact that the Iranian mediators came out with now a 10-point message. And it's, we can go over it. U.S. military president is described as the main source of instability. American bases are portrayed as unable to secure themselves. Iran says the strait should be free of the U.S. Tehran describes a shared destiny with Gulf countries. Foreign powers are declared unwelcome in the Persian Gulf. Iran says its growing influence is part of a regional order. Controlling the strait is explained to be key security. Iran says it wants to end hostile exploitation of Hormuz. New rules and management are promised to boost regional prosperity. Tehran says a new strategy would benefit the Iranian economy. And of course, President Trump says that Iran has been playing games with the U.S. for 47 years and it will laughing no longer. And he says that Iran's response to the U.S.'s 14-point peace proposal. I have just read the response from Iran's so-called representatives. I do not like it, he says. Of course, crypto sold off of that. When we talked last night, XRP was running up here towards $1.50. XRP pulled back here as expected, right? I told you last night that a Sunday pump is a pump to not believe in, right? Because we've seen this many times. People get excited on Sunday, and then we see these pullbacks into Monday morning. It's not our first rodeo, right? And actually, I was surprised in a good way that many of you in the comment section were like, it's a fake pump, right? But I already saw people making videos, short squeeze, right? We've been around the bush a few times, right? Bitcoin, of course, dropping as well. Let's get that fixed up here. Yeah, you can see similar run up, Sunday night pump, and then sell off. Solana, again, we talked about this a day or two ago. It seems that the market is hit a different kind of cadence, right? Each asset is moving a little bit differently. We've seen some break out more, some, have a little bit more strength, but it seems that even though they are moving in similar actions, like there was the pump up and then the pullback, the graphs don't look, Ethereum and Bitcoin look similar, but it's not one-to-one. Like a few weeks ago, like XRP doesn't look like Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? It looks a little bit different. Solana looks different, right? But a few weeks ago, I did that exercise and they were like, you could trace them one on the other. So I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Time will tell. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Now, as always, I just want to remind you this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Again, we have a big week coming up. If you missed it last night, we got the CPI inflation tomorrow, then PPI inflation data, OPEC, April sales data. Of course, this is the last week of the Fed chairman. He's flipping out. So this data, the CPI, the PPI, could be very important for Kevin Warsh's regime, right, at the Fed, and potentially interest rates coming down, right? This is something that we need. We need this for the crypto market. Again, I've showed you that in previous banana zones and previous big runs for the crypto market, we had seen low interest rates. And this time around, we did not see the banana zone. What was the difference? High interest rates. Many people could find different things, but that's the easiest one, in my opinion. that why the crypto market was not able to pump this time around. Again, we'll see what happens here after, if hopefully, knock on wood, Clarity Act does pass. Okay. Um, so there's other turmoils in the world going on right now, and maybe that could be affecting the crypto market. We'll get to the stock market in just a second. I want to touch on a few things, but also the Indian market also took a big drop off there, with Prime Minister Modi went on national television Sunday night asking citizens to stop buying gold, avoid foreign travel, and cut fuel consumption to save foreign exchange by any means necessary. A prime minister does not say that on national television unless the situation is serious. What's going on in India? I don't know. The largest country by population. This could be concerning. What's going on there? It's not the biggest economy in the world, right? Just from the strength or the importance, but this could be something that we need to watch. There's also going to be meetings between Trump and President Xi of China this week. So that could, any headlines that come out of that could be, could swing the markets this way or that way. So this could be another week of big volatility. And, when we look at the stock market, people are looking at it right now and they're saying, oh my God, right? What is this huge run that the stock market has been on? What are these stocks that have, just gone bananas, like Micron and SanDisk that continue to go banana zone there. Intel that had that news from an Apple partnership, but even the run up and these graphs and looking like these parabolic graphs, right? With these huge companies, it's not a meme coin, right? What's happening there? And the fear is right that there's a bubble ready to pop. And the S&P 500 is all-time highs, and this is going to be the question. But on the flip side, people could be selling fear, and Michael Burry could be selling fear again, saying he's shorting the market. But the earnings were really good. Like many of these companies that are up very big, it's because their numbers were really good. Like AMD, also, the numbers were really good. And so the question is, do the numbers continue? We'll find out next quarter, right, if the numbers continue. But if interest rates start coming down and inflation starts coming down, this could mean even more money for these companies. So the question is this a bubble, right? People always go back to the dot-com bubble, right? And, in the dot-com bubble, I don't know how many of you were alive. Well, actually, I think most of you were alive. But I wasn't investing then. Maybe some of you were. But the fact was then, and I've heard this from people that were actually in the industry, like in the high-tech industry then, were telling me that any company that had something to do with like a website or something like that or technology, just their stock was going crazy, right? Now, it's not that every single stock that mentions AI is going crazy. It's these stocks that they're deploying this infrastructure, right, for AI. The AI is not going away. Yes, maybe there are going to be some companies that are, not going to be here in a few years, but it's not that there's, it's tangible stuff. It's memory and it's chips and it's the hardware. It's not software. And actually the software companies have not been doing really good recently because of the AI, right? So it will be very interesting to see, because many people are trying to paint this as, an AI bubble and the stock market is pulled up too high. But if you actually look at percentages wise, it's not that bad. Like if you put it on a log graph, it's not that bad, the current situation. So it will be interesting to see what happens this week, right? I've been dabbling more in the stock market over the past few weeks and looking at opportunities. It's just because there's so much opportunities here, right? And I've always told you, if you're a long time watcher of the channel, I like diversification. I don't put all my eggs in the same basket. I've told you this many times. Sometimes my stock portfolio will be the winner, and sometimes the crypto market portfolio will be the winner. It's all about balance. It's all about harmony, right? That's what I've learned when I get too much this way or too much that way, that's usually when I fall on my face because I'm either not looking at the other stuff, right? Because I'm ignoring it. Maybe that happens, and it happens, right? And then maybe that gets ignored. And when you're too focused on this asset, sometimes suddenly, whoops, that one comes up and you're like, ooh, right? It's very rare that everything is, going bananas at the same time. It can happen, but we've talked about how I think that we might see a little bit of a, not today, maybe not this week, but sometime in the next 6 months where we see the stock market kind of pull back a little bit. And then the question is going to be, where's the money going to go? Does it come to the crypto market? If there's maybe, good news from the Clarity Act, then maybe we could see a shift back to that. Because remember, I showed you yesterday that when we looked back at November of 2025, when the crypto market really got excited about President Trump, the stock market, right? But 2 years later, almost, right? Stock market is very excited about the current situation, about Trump. The dollar is quote unquote cheap, right? Around the world, lots of investments in the US, and we're seeing the stock market react, right? But this could change, this could flip. So, again, you always have to be ready for all the possible scenarios, okay? Very, very important. Don't forget to check out the links in the description down below. Smash the like button. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.